Hello, good morning, and welcome to Sunrise Daily. Today, I'm Chamberlain Oso.
It's a Thursday morning, March 26th. Good morning and welcome. I'm Ayo Makinde. Chamberlain, I'm not very sure how good a morning it is for the widows of the unfortunate ambush by armed gunmen which claimed the lives of at least 9 soldiers and a policeman in the Shanga local government area of Kebbi State. Well, that's some background, and we understand that the death toll has also increased, but please listen to the governor of the state.
Information given to the military that they are gathering in one place. But the information is not correct. The military on their way to that village, these notorious bandits lay ambush on them and they kill about 11 of them. Security that are taking care of our people, guarding people so that the people of Kebbi State will sleep with their 2 eyes closed. Everybody knows the government of Kebbi State doesn't play with security issues. We were in Alwasa yesterday, and we have this incident yesterday. We are here, we have seen things by ourselves. And we have to direct the CMD of Federal Medical Center to ensure that those that are receiving treatment, they should make sure that they do the needful, and at the same time, those that lost their life, government of Kebbi State will do everything possible to assist the family. It's a great loss. It is a very sad situation, but we have to accept what has happened in good faith.
Well, unfortunately, we also reported on Channels Television on March 5 that the same, well, maybe a different set of gunmen attacked police checkpoints also in Kebbi State. Definitely very disturbing situation that we have on our hands now, particularly at a time when we thought we were over this, and now this barrage of activities. The trend we have noticed over time has been that this usually precedes election cycles. The question is why? Why does this? These are the same people that are going to vote. Why attack them? Maybe there are some things that we don't understand, but unfortunately, Chamberlain, this is where we are now.
Well, yeah, I mean, deeper concerns about all of that. I mean, when you hear narratives about another ambush, it raises more questions, because if it's happened before, if it's happening again, why does it appear as though we don't seem to be doing the right things? And so those are deeper questions. Incidentally, the Minister of Defense had a meeting, and he was talking about synergy across service chiefs and different agencies and departments. But we do hope that it won't just be mere sophistry, as it were, because the President has said similar narrative as well, and we still have this kind of challenge. But it's a different conversation that we'll have moving forward as we progress. But at the moment, the All Progressive Congress are preparing for their forthcoming convention, and attention shifting to internal contests, alignments, and ambitions that will shape the party's direction ahead of the next electoral cycle. In Ogun State, for instance, one of the emerging voices in that conversation is former Senator Obasanjo, who has declared her intention to run for governor under the APC platform, returning to partisan politics after more than a decade. Her entry into the race comes with bold confidence, despite what she describes as structural and financial disadvantages, and amid renewed debate over zoning, particularly calls for power rotation to Ogun West. She's also stirred political reactions with strong criticisms of a former party, the PDP, while insisting her defection to the APC was driven by conviction, not convenience, he joins us now to discuss the future of open politics, the APC convention, and more. Senator, good morning. Thank you for coming today. Well, a lot is going on in the country, but yes, the convention, the timetable is out, so these things equally have to happen, as it were. But what kind of mindset did you have coming ahead of the convention? Because when you see all kinds of things going on in the country, your party is preparing to see who are those that will steer the ship of state if the country gives them a chance. So how are you able to manage the mindset and still go in and still play partisan politics?
I think for me, the mindset is that we have to make this democracy work. I'm old enough to have lived through several attempted democracies, and this is our longest so far. And I firmly believe that democracy self-corrects over time, and that we have to continue it, because every time we truncate it, or it is truncated, because it's not we the people that truncates it, it makes the next edition even worse than what we thought we had. So somehow we have to keep this democracy running, and somehow we have to have people come out that have conviction that they will work for the people. And so my mindset is that this democracy is ours, and we have to continue to work within it to make change.
We've heard different people say, well, the political parties can do their thing, another activity, it doesn't really impact our lives, so they're not as enthusiastic as they ought to be, especially when that time comes when they need to go out there and elect those leaders. How do you convince those kind of people to say, look, you actually need to pay attention because this will affect your life one way or the other?
We really do need to convince them, and it is important that everybody, as much as possible, participates. It's that the more you participate, the more you can be part of changing the system, or to changing the system to the one you want to be partake in. So there is no room for disillusionment or apathy in what is going on. If the government is ours, democracy means government of the people, for the people, by the people. We have to continue to participate, no matter how difficult or impossible we feel it is, because once we give up, then it becomes not yours, right? It becomes the few people that participate. So I'm going to say that we have to keep on pushing to get the people we want into government. And so for me, I think that just encouraging people that when you see candidates you think you prefer, come out, be part of that movement, be part of that change, campaign with them or campaign for them, depending on what you can do. Talk about them to your friends and family. I think that is how we move democracy forward. It's that we have to have mass participation.
There's talk that your party, the APC, will adopt the consensus option for those candidates to emerge. If that were to be the case, do you think that system will actually bring up the right people to lead, as it were?
We have already done the consensus yesterday in Lagos for the Southwest Zone. Okay. I was there, and we used the consensus, and there was no there was nothing wrong with it. Everybody voted and affirmed the candidate. I do believe that consensus can bring out the right candidates. Because consensus doesn't mean that leadership ignores the will of the people. Consensus means that they look at what the people are saying. Like no party wants to lose, right? So the party is not going to choose people that opens them for a loss. Does that make sense? So the party is going to choose people that the consensus is going to come towards people that can actually win on the ground, if that makes sense. Because at the end of the day, the party wants to win. So they do not want to put the least popular person in as the consensus candidate in a way that it will aggravate the other participants, and in a way that will discourage people that are popular from participating. So I have full believe that the consensus is the way to go. I can describe it this way. When indirect is used and party officials are the ones that vote. So right now, it's the law that you can only use consensus and direct.
Yeah.
And direct means all party members will vote, which is very difficult to achieve. The indirect, when only party officials vote.
The delegate format.
The delegates are usually party officials and office holders that are members of the party. The problem with that is that those are easily influenced too, because you know who they are, you can reach out to them, and you can influence what they. So in that case, usually the person with the biggest money bag wins, because that's the person that can see all those individuals and either make promises or give them something to influence them. But when you have all party members, that is a little bit more difficult for anybody with the most money to influence. And when you now have the consensus, that's even almost impossible that the person with the most money to influence, because that is not based on the money you have. It is based on usually who can win on the ground that the party trust will win. And so that's...
But people can still lobby as much as possible so that they can say, hey, this consensus group, we want you to vote for me or vote for that person. It still happens.
Of course, there's always lobbying.
There can still be some inducement, isn't it?
Financial, I don't see how you can financially induce a process that everybody has to agree on. So you can lobby. There's always lobbying. The whole part, democracy is about lobbying for what you want. That's the whole process, that you come together as a group and want something, right? Even geographical groups can lobby, trade groups can lobby, any community groups can lobby. So lobbying is part of democracy. Organizing groups to lobby is an essential part of democracy. So that is not... It will happen in whichever of those systems, either the indirect, direct, or even consensus, that people will say, oh, this is who we want. And so, but it is harder because the consensus is not based on money. It's really based on who can win on the ground.
But if, for instance, there happens to be maybe a high-ranking official who is in an elected position coming against somebody who is not in an elected position, chances are that that person who is in an elected position can reach out, or might have reached out, to a group of people, maybe his constituents, much more than the other chap. So wouldn't there be
not necessarily. I think almost all of us in running in any state all across the country, there's always going to be, almost in every contest, there's going to be one person that already has a post. Not always, right?
Would it be an advantage for that person?
Not necessarily, because really, if I trust our people, that's our people, not just the party, but I trust our population. Our population does not vote by who gives them the most money. Now, they vote by who they think will perform, and it is for that agitation for who to perform to get to the ears of the right people. So I don't think it's an advantage, because a lot of people hate the people that are in government. Many of the times, not only in this country, it's very easy when people dislike the person that is in government, that is already elected. It's so easy to do that, because there's this feeling that, oh, this person is not there serving them. It's not always right, that the incumbent is bad. But if there's a candidate that they think will serve them better than the incumbent, there's no reason that external candidate will not beat an incumbent. It happens all the time, all over the world, that somebody that is not in office beats somebody in a primary that is actually in office, because the sentiment is not that you are in office. There's sometimes that people feel somebody in office has done a bad job.
So, I mean, you have described yourself, saying that you came into the Ogun governorship race a little bit late and perhaps financial constraints. So is this consensus option going to be an advantage for you, or would you have preferred another option?
No, I think it's an advantage for me. I think even the lateness, many of the candidates had said they did not declare they were out, but they've been doing things to say like that indicated they would run. And then because there's still new candidates declaring now for the governorship in Ogun State, much later than I declared. Some of them have not even done anything in terms of really just going to communities and talking about their candidature. For me, I think it's an advantage because if you have less money to spend, your popularity is what wins. And I feel very confident of my popularity on the ground. My popularity is not based on money inducement. It's based on the performance I had as Commissioner for Health and as a senator. As a senator in my district, everybody still says I performed the best as a senator. You can ask the man on the street, you can go to the marketplace, and that is based on the fact that I do not believe that the high salary I got as a senator was for me. I think we are well paid, we were well paid, we are well paid. If people that are there are still well paid. And part of that payment is to make us serve the people and give back, right? Not just, and it's to do things for them. And I think I did my best in that arena because I think that is important. And not just that, every way into serve, working for people to get jobs, that is part of my role, is that the people from my constituency can come to me. And many came to me and I was able to help. Then as commissioner, I was there in Abeokuta, which was why I actually decided to run. And I was doing good every day because as commissioner for health, we did rural health programs where we went and did surgeries and things for people. We renovated all the hospitals. So I feel confident that my candidature, based on the popularity on the ground and all the zones, I renovated, not me per se, but the state government at that point renovated all the 28 hospitals owned by the state. We repaired ambulances, we hired doctors and nurses. We did a lot in health that is still resonates with the people today. So I do believe my candidature and my emergence as a candidate and why I'll win is all my performance, my previous performance, not on money that I can give anybody because I don't have any.
All right, let me bring in Ayo.
Well, thank you, Chamberlain. Madam, just beg your pardon. It's good to see you, Senator. What happens if the party dynamics, goes in the way of a particular consensus candidate that is not you?
Then I have to accept it. Then that is what happens. I would accept it because the party is superior, and what the party says goes.
Well, okay. Well, I'd like you to please speak to a larger issue here. We hear that the governor in any party, in any state, is the party leader, particularly if the state, if that governor is in a ruling party. And we have also seen that a good number of governors from other political parties have defected to the APC. Now, what would you say would be the effect, particularly in the build-up to this convention of the APC? What would be the effect of those governors who defected into the APC and maybe auspiciously took over the party structures on the convention, on the existing structures of the party structure before they joined and after, particularly how you see that affecting the outcomes of this convention?
I believe every state governor is part of the party leadership. From the time they joined the party, whether they changed before or before they joined the party, but they are part of a leadership. A party cannot have just a single leadership. It has to be teamwork. So each governor, whether they just joined, are joining a system where they automatically become part of that leadership, a significant part of that leadership. But it's not that a single person now becomes the only party leader, which is what you presented. So I think they will join a team of leadership, and decisions will be made along those lines.
Well, there is...
I hope that answers your question.
Yes, partly, but there is party leadership, and then there is party leader. In the case, for instance, of the governor of Adamawa State, we understand that, I mean, the vice president, while at a reception, you know, receiving him last month, we understand that he declared that Fintiri had automatically become the party leader in Adamawa State. That's the background against which I'm asking that question. Do you think it'll have any effect on the party structure, on the loyalty of the members of the party before that? Because that governor is going to come with his own party infrastructure, so to speak.
He will still join part of the structure that is on the ground. His structure will join the structure on the ground. You cannot, and I think, I don't know the details of this particular case of the governor of Adamawa. All I can say is that the governor will join the party leadership that is on the ground. I think the governor might have said that just to impress on people that he is important in the party structure. Maybe there's some internal issues in Adamawa that I don't know about, so I cannot speak to the specifics of that situation in particular.
Now, you said something very fundamental, and I think I'll end, this will be my last question to you. You said something very fundamental about accepting whatever the outcome of the convention is. I'm not sure every member of the APC is going to feel the same way. What, in your opinion, would you advise those who may not be so favored and those who are upset or unhappy with the outcome of the convention and who feel aggrieved? What would be your suggestion to them, and what are the party infrastructure on ground to appease them, should there be the case?
I think you are mixing two things. The convention chooses the party officials, the chairman and the secretary and all that, and we've already done it at the ward level, we've done it at the local government level, we've done it at the state level, and we've done it at the zonal level without any issue. So people have accepted those consensus results, and it's gone on. The second thing that will then come up between April 23rd and May 31st are the primaries, where the contestants will be chosen. If we've been able to do the convention and all the party officials were chosen without rancor, I doubt that the primary is when the rancor will start. It might, I just know my own belief in the system and what I will do. So I cannot speak for other candidates and what they are prepared to do if they are not chosen. But the primaries is different from the convention, and as I'm here, I'm not saying definitely it's going to be consensus, because there are two ways it could go. There can also be direct. But my own belief is that whichever way it's used, I will accept the result of the outcome.
You warned Senator Yayi of opportunistic politics.
No, that was not actually what I said.
Okay,
because what I said, the question was about people moving local government, and we focused, and I said, oh, if you move from one local government to another, and I can't even remember what the exact question is, but I never mentioned Senator Yayi in my answer at all, and okay. I just referenced the fact that if you keep moving if you move local government, there is a fact that you might be looking for the best place to vote from, the first place that benefits you. And that is in the context of Ogun State. In Ogun State, especially in my senatorial district, many of us come from there are many local governments you could claim, mostly because traditionally our people were farmers. So they will have farms, and those farms now are in different local government. And then they will have the city, where that is actually their ancestral home, but they've moved out traditionally to farm in other parts of the region. So what you find is that people have their city where they belong to, and then the village where they also belong to. And sometimes people even belong to two villages because their great-grandfathers or even fathers might have been itinerant farmers farming along the way. So, but I believe that once you choose a local government, then you should stick with it. And so it was not a question aimed at Senator Yayi. It was just named, my answer was based on the question posed to me.
You were in politics, you left, you're coming back in, but there are people who still think politics hasn't really delivered what they expected of them in terms of citizens now. You're coming back in. Why do you think there'll be a difference if you're elected?
I think I am coming back, and it starts with what I did before. I'm coming back in because people came to me and said, we want you back because of what you did before. You are the kind of person that we want in leadership. So that is one. So I'm coming back not because I need anything from the system, but to because it was actually a call that came in waves and from grassroots people, from higher up people, and so I'm answering that call. So that is one. So it's that belief that people actually recognize what I was doing and saw that there was value in it for themselves. And up till now, every meeting I go, every meeting I meet, there's somebody there that stands up and said, I'm not going to pretend I gained from you, and this is what I gained. Either employment, a job opportunity, a contract that you have to give. We did all the renovations we did. It was people from the state that did it. All kinds of other things that people said, oh, you helped me with this, you helped me with that. So my own conviction is that the system is going to work to bring in new good candidates and even new candidates or people like me that have gone and done other things. And my conviction is based on the fact that I don't have, I have a job that I'm doing even still. Mm-hmm. I teach. I'm going to grade papers tonight, for example. So I think that my ability to give and to be of service is what is uttermost in my mind for doing this. And I think I don't think I'm the only one in this mode. I think there are lots of people there that would like to come into politics, or have come into politics and have been disenfranchised in different ways. But like I said at the beginning, we can't give up because it's our country. We have to always give it a try and keep working to create change. And I think that was where what the people that called me back wanted to do, is that we want to participate. We want to be able to bring candidates that we love and we think will do right, and we're going to participate. And I'm hoping that other places too, people come together to try and do that as part of the democratic process.
All right, Senator Obasanjo, governorship aspirant now for Ogun State. Thank you for coming, and all the best to you.
Thank you so much.
All right, well, back in a moment, everyone. Don't go away.
Nigeria and our state is enough. The killing of Hausa people is also enough. You will see that all those people that are occupying the political positions are not Hausa. Well, it is Hausa people that took them to that position. So that's why we are saying to the world, to the Nigerian politicians, anybody that is not going to take Hausa people to the consideration, ranging from giving them position in politics and other positions, Hausa people are not going to vote that person. We are not going to vote for that person. So Hausa people need to be given very good consideration. You can see that all these people here, cameraman, take all these people. Please cover them. All of them are Hausa people. All of them are the mother. If in time for what can you see that those people who are occupying political positions who are not Hausa by birth are the ones that will come and bring their sons and daughters to contest in our own Hausa land. So that is why we stand up and say that we are no longer going to fold our hands and keep just looking at those people enjoying the blessing that Allah Almighty God has endowed us with in Hausa land. So, short and precisely, I'm trying to tell you that any politician that doesn't want to go along with the Hausa people is not going to succeed. Any politician, whoever the person is, we have made our people to make their mind that they are only going to vote the Hausa person or somebody that is going to help Hausa people.
Well, clearly, you see, concerns are mounting across parts of northern Nigeria following a wave of protests by Hausa youth groups and community leaders, driven by worsening insecurity, banditry, and deadly attacks on rural communities, in what many observers describe as a significant shift. Some of these protests are also reflecting growing tensions within the long-standing Hausa-Fulani relationship, with calls for political realignment and stronger protection for affected communities. Well, joining us now from our Kano studio to discuss these developments is Jibril Ismail, is the chairman, Voice of Indigenous Hausa. Good morning, and thank you for joining us on the program today.
Good morning, sir.
So, could you tell us, what is this all about, really?
Well, what we are asking for is Hausa people are the ones who have are the most populous ethnic group in Nigeria, but we look at the people that are occupying the political positions, you will see that you can hardly find a Hausa man among them. And insecurity that is happening, that is ravaging the country, you see that most of the affected people are the Hausa people. The communities that have been destroyed and people propelled out of their communities, all of them, you see that 99.5% or 99.9% are the Hausa people. So we took a look at it and see that it is because Hausa people have been relegated. That is, in terms of political positions, Hausa people are not given. Even the traditional leadership, you see that Hausa people are excluded. And that really helped in the subjugation of Hausa people and making them into a poverty, gross poverty. So we are now coming out and say that we want Hausa people to lead. If Hausa man is the one that is leading in these states, and somebody that has Hausa consciousness will have to think that it is because the Hausa people are not the ones who are ruling. That is why we are having all this problem of insecurity and so on.
Well, I know you may have heard this question before, but I'm going to put it to you again. Why is it taking this long for this to happen, this conversation?
Sorry?
Why did it take you this long to begin to speak up?
Well, we have been told that we and Fulanis are brothers. That is in religion, and Islam, that is Islamic religion. But later we came to realize that everything that will come for somebody that for development, you see that that thing will directly go to the Fulani side. It will not come to the Hausa people side. That is why, so because of that religion, and maybe they are using the religion as a manipulating tool. So that religion that they are using is the one that made us silent. But now that we are tired of the subjugation that we have started, we have no choice than to come out and start speaking out.
Well, you have people who will say, what are you talking about? Hausa-Fulani, you people are one. You've intermarried, you live together, and everybody thinks that you're all one and same. So how come this narrative is not the same right now?
Well, actually, we wanted the relationship to keep going. But because of the marginalization that we are seeing against our race, that is why we say we have to speak up. And the talk of saying that Hausa people have intermarried with Fulani, that is why they are now one. No, we are not one. We wanted to be one, but because they are segregating us, so we are no longer ones actually. Because if we are one, Hausa people too supposed to be seen occupying political positions. So it is because to them we are not one. That is why they are not allowing us to even let me take for instance in kind of my states. You cannot see you can hardly see a government official that is a political appointee that is Hausa. There are Hausas, but they are very, very few. And so with that equity, we need equity, you know, so that our power will be the same. But when maybe in this crisis of let me call it Hausa genocide, because those people are the ones that have upper hands. They have upper hands over us. So they are actually they are unaliving us so much, as if there is nobody that will come and talk for Hausa people. And all these things that has happened, there is no single person from the north, from all my state that say, oh, this thing is happening to Hausa people. Let us come out and help Hausa people. What some of them are even saying is that people are being treated. But if there is Hausa man that is on a higher political position, he will come and say that no, it is my people that are being affected the most.
All right, so let me ask you.
But nobody talked.
Is former governor, former minister of defense, Rabi Kwankwaso, is he Fulani or is he Hausa?
Rabi Musa Kwankwaso is a Fulani.
He's not Hausa?
And the current, no, he's not Hausa. He's Fulani. It's just that they're saying that a person that is speaking Hausa in North is Hausa. That's what they're saying. And that is what we are fighting against now. Because they are using that to subjugate us. They are using that to subdue us. So we are no longer going to keep quiet and see this is happening in our own land. And nobody is talking. If you look at anybody that is doing a small business or Merua, Okada, you see that it's a Hausa man. But if you see the people who are being sponsored to go to study abroad, you see that they are Fulani. Most of them, 99.5% or 0.9%, you see that they are Fulani. It is because every offer or every opportunity will come from to the federal to the state government, and the state government, what he will do is to disperse that among his cabinets, and his cabinets are Fulani, and they will also disperse it to their families, and those their families are Fulani. So Hausa people will not get anything. The remaining maybe out of 100, if 10 will be dispersed to.
I'm sure you might have heard several times where perhaps maybe people down south will say, Hausa people have done this, Hausa people have done that, and then they never get any rebuttal from the Hausa community, only for it to be speaking up now. So many of them actually think that when they say Hausa people have done this or have done this ill, that is actually true. But now you seem to be saying that is not the case.
Yes, actually it's not the case. It's because of what they are saying, anybody that speaks Hausa is Hausa. That's why they are saying that Hausa people do this, Hausa people. But now that we have come out to talk and say that trying to, like, let me say, separate ourselves from them, let us show the world that we are the indigenous Hausa people. And we have the right to come out to say that we need to be given privilege and opportunities the same way it is given to other tribes, that is to Fulani. That's just it.
All right, but I'm sure there are lots of people listening to you saying, what's going on that day? They'll be a little surprised that some of the submissions you're making here this morning. But how do people know that this group, this indigenous Hausa group you're speaking about, are not just young people who are exuberant? I mean, is this a cross-board? Because you have Hausa Christians, Hausa Muslims, Fulani Christians, Fulani Muslims. So how are you supposed to manage all of this?
Well, actually, we have elders.
Amongst you?
Yes, we have our intellectual elders, professors among us. We have them. So they are the ones, they guide us. Anything that we will do, which will go out of, let me say, out of hand, they will come us and hold us in order. So, and our Hausas and Christians, we are all the same. We are no longer going to say, this is Hausa, this is Hausa Christian, this is no. We are all the same, and we are trying to achieve the same goal.
So would you be able to mention some of those elders who are supporting you?
No, actually now I will, it's not now, I will not start mentioning their names and all that, but actually that they are supporting us and they are guiding us. Anything that we will do that will get out of hand, they will call us an order and say this is what we are supposed to do.
All right.
According to the law of the
One more thing before we go. For these forthcoming elections, do you think this agitation, this realignment you're seeking, will the Hausa people be able to go out there and vote? And what have you told them to do when they go to vote?
Well, actually, yes, Hausa people are going out to vote because they are the voters now. We are in the National Bureau of Statistics now. Hausa people are 30% of the Nigerian population. So we are the most populous ethnic group in Nigeria. And in the Northwest, we are the most populous ethnic groups. So we know our people, and they know the situation of the country now, that they have not been represented well as an ethnic entity. They have not been represented well. So we are telling them, and they are going to vote the person that is going to take them into consideration as I talk there. Somebody that is going to, yes, take care of them. Somebody that is going to listen to their cry. That is
all right. All right, Jibril Ismail, thank you for talking to us this morning.
Thank you so much, sir. My pleasure.
All right, we're back in a moment, everyone. Stay with us. Welcome back. Well, Lalu Akonde joins us now, host of Inside Sources and former presidential aide. Morning, Lalu. Thank you for coming on today.
Good morning.
Well, we started out this morning with this, just reflecting on the unfortunate development in Kebbi. Yet again, another narrative of an ambush, misinformation, and you keep wondering, something is clearly amiss.
Clearly, I mean, and I think that we need to stay on Kebbi. Don't forget that the governor of Kebbi State, who we have to give credit for reflecting some very important facts of what is going on in his own way, and for his empathy and sympathy that everybody saw on national television yesterday. It was the governor of Kebbi that had told us about the relocation of the military forces, before an attack. I think then on a school in Kebbi State. Do you know that up until now, we don't have an answer of what happened? Nobody in the Nigerian Military Command has given us a sufficient explanation of the question that the governor of Kebbi raised. Okay? Now, something similar has also happened. Now you have information given out to the military that there is an attack somewhere, it was an ambush. So it speaks of collusion. It speaks of real problem internally, not just within the military, but even among the people. And I think it was General Oluyede who made this point when he got to Maiduguri. It is important for our communities to be mobilized. And this is part of the things that some of us have been trying to talk about. We need leadership that can rally people together at times of crisis like this. We don't need a leadership that is afraid to confront the issue fundamentally. What is happening is a fundamental problem, and I have not seen sufficient outrage. I mean, you give people like the governor of Kebbi credit, you give the governor of Zamfara credit, but you haven't seen enough outrage among northern leaders about what is happening in their country. There's not enough outrage. There's not enough strategy. There's not enough plan of how to get out of this problem. And what we see are unanswered questions. The governor of Kebbi asked, what happened? Who gave the order to remove those military troops before that assault?
And there's been no answer.
And up to now, there's no answer. There's no answer. I mean, we can't expect things to change dramatically.
Is it that the commander-in-chief didn't hear that?
Well, they have to answer the question. So I mean, now you have an ambush that was set up, against the military. A lot of things are going on. And it's telling us that we have not really dealt with the fundamental problems. We have to move away from all this division. Issues of security should unite everybody. Now, if you don't do that, we're going to have a repeat and a repeat of all this stuff.
How is the world going to help us? If they're looking in to see, okay, what kind of help can we provide? But if we're this divided, if we can't pull our ass together and act as one, how are they going to work with us to solve this problem?
Well, so we have to fix, and that's why we always say that, look, yes, we need the external support in terms of areas that we are lacking. But one thing that external support cannot give us is to organize ourselves. And I'm putting the brunt, I'm putting the burden on northern leaders. Northern leaders have to sit up and fix their own, the fact that they are leaders. The leadership comes with responsibility. It comes with courage. It comes with, carrying the burden of the people. I haven't seen something consistent, from northern leaders about what is happening in that part of the country. And it's so sad. It's so sad. There are unanswered questions. I expected that northern leaders will insist to have some kind of public disclosure of all the seeming collusion. Be very aggressive about these things. Many of them are getting involved in what's going to happen in 2027. The question is not who holds the power. The question is, what does the power mean to the average person in the north and in Nigeria?
For instance, now that, do you think internal democracy, or now that they're adjusting to elect officials and leaders in different political parties, at the end of the day, they elect people who will vie for elections and then they win and come in. Do you think that process is good enough to bring in people who will look whoever in the face and say, no, we don't like what's going on here?
So the question of internal democracy, has just gotten another life of its own now. And, part of my whole analysis is that, so you're going to get a lot of, we're going to get a lot of chatter around of that, because it's about how to acquire power, and it does have its place. But what are we doing with the power? The reason why people are elected into office is because it's a trust from the people, regardless of whether it's 10% people that is voting or 15%. It's an entrusted position. And in a democracy, it is limited. 4 years, 8 years, and people are going to make a judgment of whatever it is that you have done. We have not had, lately, we've not had responsible leadership on a consistent basis. And so we have to go back and look at how is it that these leaders are emerging and see what has happened now. Now, you expect that in the National Assembly there is going to be some kind of robust, debate about these issues. For instance, they're saying that, look, okay, we can't have delegates. We can't have delegate primaries. Of course, delegate primaries has its own weaknesses, but it also has its own strength. Now, they're saying that it's either consensus
or indirect.
Or
many of them are going with consensus.
Or direct election by default. And the problem with direct election is that for our experience, especially in the Fourth Republic, direct elections are basically fraudulent. Somebody just sits down somewhere, and they show you a long line, and the fact that this is going to be happening at the same time across the country, even the media is not going to have the capacity to report what is going on. And so somebody just going to do some collation and then just tell you this is what is happening. So we are not treating the problem that we ought to treat. Our political leaders, they are, to use the language of the street, they are falling our hands over and over again.
But how come? We've had the APC people tell us, well, we've used the consensus at the ward level, at the state level, and everything seems to be okay, and so we'll adopt it at the perhaps convention, and it's delivering results for them.
Well, look, whatever it is that the party wants to do, I think that the party has to have, their discretion. Yeah. Now, removing the delegates option, I think is not right. You should leave it. It's a disempowerment of the political party to say that you cannot do this.
What about the challenges that came with that system?
Yes, so that's what I'm saying. So there are no hard and fast rules about these things. You should let the members of the party, the members of the party have to be sufficiently empowered to determine these things, not the leadership of the party. The leadership of the Nigerian political system has been hijacked by political elites for their own personal benefits. That is what is happening over and again in our country today. So there's a disempowerment of the people. Professor Amupiton was lamenting yesterday through a speech that he gave when we were launching the manual to attract young voters, to say that there's no trust in the electoral process. Sir, there cannot be trust in the electoral process the way these things are being done. The ecosystem does not produce trust, cannot produce trust, because there is too much calculation. There is too much, the locus of the people in a political party is completely, evaporated. So you just have a group of leaders sit in a room, and this is not just new. I'm not saying that it's just happening now. It's been going on for a while. It started with the days of General Obasanjo. He was the guy that said that, look, politics is war. And so everybody say, okay, look, let's just get it whichever way we can get it. And the rules have become the ones that are set by the leaders who already know what they want to do. And all they need is just to try and give us an impression that we got everybody behind us. So it ought to be that the people ought to be the one to determine what their preferences are. We don't have that. So I mean, we have to begin to ask the question, Chamberlain, is this the beginning of the death of democracy in Nigeria? Because it's ridiculous what is going on. It's completely ridiculous. Are we going to be killing ourselves that this is democracy? Is this democracy? Is this how democracy ought to be practiced?
And adding to that headache is the oil price in Iran. Iran, US, that scenario. Buying petrol these days is giving people a lot of headache. So many questions, rightly or wrongly, say, look, they just don't know where to turn with all of this scenario.
And mom is the word from NNPCL. Mom is the word from NMDPRA. Mom is the word from the Minister of Petroleum Resources. Not a word from these folks. Not a word. The only person that has spoken in the Nigerian government is Mr. Wale Hedon about 2 weeks ago, when he ruled out, price control and said that the coordinating, the economic team is looking at it. That's all you've got. So you have people in the private sector saying that, look, this thing is going to cost this much. Nigerians are already paying more, especially low-income earners. Not a word from all those government agencies. And I'm tired of calling out the president all the time. Yes, the boss stops at his table, and ultimately he's going to carry the reputation for whatever happens. But what about the people that were appointed into position? There is somebody in charge of NNPCL, Mr. Boy Ojulari. Why is he silent? There is somebody in charge of NNDPAR, Saudu Mohammed. Why is he silent? There is somebody in charge of petroleum resources, Enekin Lokobri. Why is he silent? Nobody is talking to Nigerian people. It's ridiculous.
I think the NNPC GMD was NNPCL GMD the other day. I think he said something else too. Thanks to Dangote refinery, we would not have been able to bear the shocks. We would have gone over the roof.
The prices are already going up, and that is you see, if that is what he said, that is a poor reflection of his own communication competence. If that is what Ojulari is saying, it's a poor reflection of his communication competence.
All right, we'll anchor at that point, Lalak, the host, Inside Sources, and former presidential aide. Well, that is the show today. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you tomorrow. I'm Chamberlain, so goodbye.
And I'm Aya Makire. Enjoy the rest of your day.